What's up, guys? Gotti Jr. here. Finally, over this cold, I think. Got a little bit of a cough, a scratchy throat maybe, but the cold is finally ending. This has been going on for 2 weeks now. We recorded a few weeks ago, and I was just like, in the midst of this cold, and Jason wasn't feeling well, and we joked around, oh, maybe it's coronavirus. And it got to a point here, like, week 2, I was like, yo, what's going on here? Is there something else going on? Because, I got to go to, I never go to the doctors. And this dude right here made a decision on a Saturday afternoon to head to the doctors. I went down to urgent care to get checked out. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was coughing so hard on a Saturday that my whole body hurt. My rib cage hurt. A friend of mine said, if you cough real hard, you could break a rib. I was like, what? But my stomach hurt from coughing. I got a headache from coughing. I said, that's it. Going to urgent care. Gonna see what's going on. Maybe give me something for this. So, yeah, it was insane. And I don't know what it is about these colds. Like, I guess as you get older, they're harder to deal with, because I used to be able to just power through these things, just down some Dayquil, NyQuil, done. Never went to the doctors for anything. And I'm not, I don't get sick often. But yeah, to make the decision to go down to urgent care was big. That was a big thing for me. So, I go down there and get checked out. Doctor gives you some. I come back home. I still didn't feel good. I actually got worse that night. Actually thought about maybe calling the ambulance, heading down to ER. I mean, I was in bad shape. Jason and Kirby know I was talking in their chat. I'm just like, dude, guys, I'm in bad shape. This may be the end. This may be it. Yeah. So, hey, look, we got through it. Starting to feel a lot better. Hopefully record this week a Radio Impound episode with Jason, talk about those races he attended. I know the J Concept crew was at Motorama. I had people message me saying, hey, you going to Motorama? I'm like, no, I'm out. All right, I'm out. First of all, I've been out for a few years now. Like, I just try to avoid, I try to avoid, I'm more of a homebody now. So I try to avoid going out in the public. And I think maybe that's part of my problem, maybe. People are saying like, well, your immune system's not, you go out in the public and go out in a large crowd or whatever, and just stuff floating around in the air and you get it. And it's just, your body doesn't react well to it. So maybe that's what it was, because, yeah, I didn't go to Motorama. I didn't go to INS 10. I didn't go to the Dirt Nitro Challenge. You're not going to see me at these places anyway, but I'm just saying, I didn't go there. But you know where I went? And I mentioned this. I did a podcast with Kirby before the Super Bowl, that I was heading to Groundhog Day. I was going to Punxsutawney PA. Finally going to Groundhog Day. Okay, like I said, this, for me to go out in a situation like that, it had to be something like a Groundhog Day, something special. This is something I wanted to do since the movie came out in 1993. Groundhog Day, Bill Murray. Watched the movie, loved it. One of my favorite movies. And I always, said, oh, we're definitely going to go to Groundhog Day. I want to go experience that. And just never went. Never. I just kept putting it off year after year after year. And this year, I said, you know what? I'm doing it. I don't care. We're doing it. It's on a Sunday. It's perfect. Nobody has to be anywhere. So I decided to make the trip out. My girlfriend Carrie, her sister Jamie, we went out to Punxsutawney PA, and finally went to Groundhog Day. And I'm guessing because right after Groundhog Day is when I get sick, and so we'll get into it here. This is probably, this is where it all started. But anyway, the story's not about the cold. It's more about the Groundhog Day here. I wanted to pop on here and tell you guys about it. I know some people were saying, hey, how was it? And stuff like that. So, yeah. So, again, this is something I wanted to do since the movie. And I realized that, maybe even the movie wasn't even, I never really dug into it, but maybe the movie wasn't even filmed in that area. I'll Google it and look it up later. But I always envision it being sort of like that. But it, ended up not being exactly like what the movie showed. But I figured, there's going to be people there. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people there. But it's going to be in the town. You're going to roam around, go out to eat, I just envision like going to a restaurant and then walking from the restaurant to the event, just like it kind of like in the movie there. So anyway, yeah. So we head out to Punxsutawney PA. It's about close to 3 hours west of me. And we ended up staying at a hotel. We couldn't get right near Punxsutawney. That was all filled up. And I'm not even sure the town itself has any hotels. I'm sure they have bed and breakfasts and motels, maybe. Maybe 1, 2, I don't know. But yeah, Jamie, I remember when she was looking at booking the rooms, she was saying there was nothing close. Closest we get, probably close to a half hour away, which is fine. I was like, all right. So we ended up staying at the hotel. It was, like I said, about a half hour away from Punxsutawney. We get there, and it was a Saturday, and we go out to eat, and we're talking to a few people, and we realized somebody at the diner mentioned that they expect maybe 30,000 people there. And I'm like, wait, what? 30,000? I figured maybe 5,000 tops. Not even, I don't even know what I was thinking. Like I said, I just had envisioned the movie where there was a lot of people, but you can roam around freely. This guy's telling us 30,000 approximately, maybe even more, because it was a special date of 2/2/20, and it was on a Sunday. The weekends are always the busiest for this. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. So I said to Jamie, because anytime we go anywhere with Jamie, Jamie plans everything out. And to the point where it's like, what do you call that? Where you break it down by times, like, okay, we're going to do this at 9, and we're going to do this at 9:10, and we're going to do itinerary. So she creates something like that. And it's almost like to the point where, I always joke around where it's like when you go on vacation with her, you need to go on vacation afterwards because you're exhausted. So she tries to pack everything in, like use every minute of the vacation with stuff to do. And, yeah, so I always joke around with her like, oh, so what are we doing at 10? And then what are we doing at 10:02? And, but yeah, so I said, well, Jamie, what time is this thing? And what time do we need to get up? And she's like, well, I'm figuring we need to get there. I think we originally had plans to get up like at 2 a.m. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, what time does this thing start? She's like, well, I believe, from what I understand, the actual event itself, where they pull, Phil out and he gives his weather predictions, like around 7:30. I'm like, why do we need to leave at 2? And it's like, well, we need to, get up, get ready, drive like over a half hour, then get into Punxsutawney, park, get in line for the buses. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, you have to take a shuttle. Wait a minute. You have to take a shuttle bus? Yeah, you have to take a bus up to Knob Mountain. I said, where's Knob Mountain? And here, Knob Mountain's only like 2 miles away from the town. But it's literally, Knob Mountain. So there's the word mountain in it. It's up a mountain. So a majority of people take the bus. And the bus, does its thing and goes around, and it may take you, maybe 10 minutes, not even, to get up there. So I was blown away. And I said, look, can we, maybe leave? Like, I had visions of waking up at 5, getting out there and just getting there in time for the, the prediction. But there were so many people, and we were talking like, close to 30,000 people. I'm not quite sure what they got there in the end, but it was close to that probably. You got to get up early. And from what we later find out, that people line up, people get there on Knob Mountain and mostly college kids, mostly like 11, 12 midnight. Insane. So yeah, so she's like, so we had plans again up at 2. Then we moved it to 3. We're like, okay, 3's good. Set your alarm and stuff like that. So we ended up getting up like around 4ish maybe. Instead, not exactly, what we originally planned on, but we get up a little later. Carrie gets up, and Carrie recently suffered a concussion. She was going out to her car, slipped on some ice, hit the back of her head, got a bad concussion. So when she woke up Sunday morning, this happened about a week prior. She woke up Sunday morning though, to go to Groundhog Day, and she had a real bad headache, felt dizzy. So she decided to stay back, which ended up probably being a good idea for her. And you're able to watch it on TV there. So Jamie and I left. Again, my times might be a little messed up, but it was approximately like 4:30 by the time we left, and it was snowing. We get outside, it's snow on the car. It's snowing. There's about 2 inches. Not a big deal. I mean, we're used to driving and that stuff, but you had to take time to brush the car off, warm it up. You get out on the road. The roads weren't treated at all. There was a line of traffic going. People going to Punxsutawney, leaving the hotel, and so the traffic was slow moving. So it took, what probably should have took approximately 20, 30 minutes. It took, maybe close to an hour to get there. We get into the town of Punxsutawney, and it's a tiny town. I mean, this is a small town. It can't handle this many people in its town. And, we get in there, and there's cars everywhere parked, and there's police everywhere, state police everywhere. Every intersection, it seemed like, there was state police were there telling you, keep going straight. The GPS wanted you to turn, you couldn't. It got to a point where we had to pull over, and we asked the cop, we're like, well, what are we supposed to do? Because the GPS is telling everybody to turn here, and you guys aren't letting us, and we got to keep going straight. How far do we go? I mean, what do we do? And he's like, you know what? They just put me on this beat this morning. I have no idea. I'm not familiar with this area. All I know is you got to go straight. So we end up going straight out, and we turned back around to go back into the town. So we go through town, and then we heard there was parking at a Walmart. So we asked directions from a cop. We said, how do we get to the Walmart? How can we get through here? So we found a way to get to the Walmart. We get up there. There's absolutely no parking. I mean, completely filled the Walmart parking lot. People were jumping the curb and jumping on the grass, or parking on the grass. Everything was filled. There was there was other, there was Walmart there, and then there was like a Panera Bread parking lot. That was filled completely. There was nowhere to park. So we left the Walmart parking lot and headed back down to town, which Walmart in Punxsutawney, maybe a 5-minute drive. So we get into town, and again, just absolute. It looked like me. I was like, what did I get myself into? This is insane. We weren't even quite sure if we were going to make it at this point. Now we're like, man, how are we going to find a parking spot and walk and get to this event in time? So we go back in town, and then you can see the buses everywhere, and it was just insane. The crowd was just crazy. And I said to Jamie, I said, are you kidding? We got to wait in line for this bus, the shuttle buses to take us up to the event. And I said, why don't we, how far is this? And can we park this car and just walk this thing? Because I saw some people walking across the street. Then we see a sign that says parking for walkers. So we followed that and ended up finding a parking spot about a half a mile from the main road. We found a parking spot. And we looked at, we brought up Google. We looked up how far Knob Mountain was. It was only like 2 miles away, but it was, again, uphill. So we said, screw it. We're walking, not a big deal. It's cold, it's snowing, but we'll make it. Everybody else is, there's people walking. Well, I get out of the car, and I mean, it was like, I think it was like 20 degrees out, and it was snowing, but, I was fine. I had a jacket on and stuff. But the problem was I was wearing Adidas Ultra Boost. And if anybody knows about Adidas Ultra Boost, it's like wearing a sock. And it was snowing, and the snow is falling on, and then the snow on the ground's coming up on the shoe, and it's going right through the fabric on the top. And instantly, like within 5 minutes, my feet were freezing and cold and wet. Not a good choice if you're going to Punxsutawney. And I'm not a boots guy, so I don't wear boots, but I probably could have wore a better sneaker. That would have been, one of my Nike. I have a Nike utility, Vapor Max. That probably would have been way better because it's waterproof and everything. That would have been better to use that one. But no. I had the Ultra Boost on, and they were instantly wet and freezing. So we get to the main road, and they have a sign pointing Knob Mountain, and it said 2 miles or whatever away. And you start walking up. You follow in the crowd that's walking, and it's houses going right up the hill. Both sides, there's houses, so there's people walking up the hill, and you're walking up, and it's slippery. None of the sidewalk, people weren't out there already. People weren't putting anything on the sidewalks yet. It's so early in the morning, and so you're going up the hill. It was actually better to walk on the road, and it was a hike to get to the top. I mean, it was just the incline was steep, and it's you're walking a good mile up to the top of the hill, and then when you get to the top, you have about another mile to go. And so we get up there, and actually, as I'm walking up, there was people loading in their cars, residents that live there, and they were going up to Groundhog Day. And I joked around with the one lady. I said, "Hey, can I? I'll give you some money if you give me a ride up to Groundhog Day." And she said, "Oh man, I would, but I'm packed." And her car was packed. She had all her family in there. I said, "Oh, I'll hold on to the bumper." But anyway, so yeah, if you're a resident there, apparently, from what I understand, is you get a parking pass to go up there, and you could park right at the event, which is nice. So one of the perks of living in Punxsutawney. So we get up there, and we get it to the top of the hill. We take a photo next to one of the signs that says, "Oh, you only got a mile to go," or whatever. So what you do is, you get to the top of the hill, you make a left there, and the road makes a wide loop, and people weren't following the road then. Once you got to that loop part, they were cutting across a cornfield, and and obviously no corn, but you had the corn, the corn stumps there, the stalks, and you had snow on top, so you couldn't see them well, and so we decided to follow the crowd as far as walking on the field, and right before we got on the field, the deer just run right out in front of the group of people who are in front of us. Literally, I could have reached out and touched them. They were booking. They ran right across the guy, and you're thinking, "Whoa, man! I could have got ran over by a deer. That would have been nuts." But so we walk across the field, and in the field, it was really hard to walk on because it was like it was like on an incline. So you're always trying to keep your balance. And then you had to watch for the corn stalks, and so they wouldn't trip you up. But anyway, I'm freezing. My feet are freezing, shuffling across that field. And then you start seeing the glow, the lights, and they had a fire going. You see all the people, the buses arriving, and people there getting their pictures taken next to the signs, the Groundhog Day signs and the entranceway. We get there, and you just walk straight in. There's nothing to, it's wide open. So, we were trying to, we get there, and we were just looking around, trying to find a spot that we would like to settle on eventually to watch this. We were going to obviously be back a good distance because we didn't get there early enough. Apparently you do got to get there, real early, but it wasn't bad. We still were able to see everything. But anyway, we get there, and, and I thought there would be a lot of vendors, food vendors and stuff, but there really wasn't. I think there was just one there. You can get, some hot chocolate, coffee, and some donuts maybe. But yeah, there was really nothing I thought it'd be like a fair sort of type situation. There was a lot of trailers there, but it was all a lot, it was media. The Weather Channel was there. So we were walking around and, you got guys selling t-shirts and stuff, and people there dressed up. Everybody's taking photos of people dressed up, or some people had funny signs. There was a Epstein, didn't kill himself sign. It said Phil says Epstein didn't kill himself, but, Phil says legalize it, trying to legalize marijuana here. So you get some, funny signs, funny costumes, and then people really get into it, and they have a good time with it. And they have music playing. They had a band playing on stage. So, we got there, I'm guessing it was around, by the time we got in there, it was probably like 6-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. And the actual event itself took place around 7:30, but they had stuff leading up to it. They had the band on stage. They ended up having fireworks around 6:30, which, cross that off my list. I was taking this off my bucket list, going to Groundhog's Day, and then having fireworks. I'd never been to fireworks at 6:30 in the morning. So that was actually pretty cool. They did a real good job with that. The fireworks were really good. The finale was awesome. And funny story, I was not so funny, but I'm filming the fireworks with my phone. I got my phone, and the weirdest thing, my phone, which was completely charged when I left. So I get up there, I'm taking pictures, and I'm filming the fireworks, and my phone goes dead. It said low battery, drained. I'm like, what? I thought my battery died. I thought something happened to my phone. It just went dead. I come to find out later on that cold weather can drain your battery fast. And the weirdest thing, Jamie didn't have a problem with her phone, but mine, it instantly went from 90% right down to 0 as I was, videoing the fireworks. Totally crazy, man. I've never experienced that before. Maybe it was colder than 20 degrees, but yeah, I know my phone was really cold in my pocket, and battery drained, done. So no phone the rest of the time for me, and that was just right before even anything started. But Jamie took all the video and photos for us. So, so the fireworks, and then they had a committee up there of the Groundhog committee they have, and they're dressed in tuxes and top hats and stuff, and they're giving speeches and talking to the crowd and stuff about Phil and all the stuff that he did throughout the year, because he does appearances at other places around the area there, and they really get into it. So then 7:30 rolls around somewhere in that ballpark, and they bring Phil out. He gives his prediction, and this was the 134th anniversary of Groundhog Day, and you can go to groundhog.org for more info if you plan on attending this event. Like I said, I would definitely go. I would go once, and there's no other reason to go back. None. Unless, I guess, if you want to bring someone else eventually that's never been there and show them the ropes. But other than that, one time's good, and that is it. You don't need to go again. So this was the 131st anniversary, and I guess only a handful of times he's predicted an early spring out of 134 years. That's crazy. I couldn't believe when I heard that. So, they do the event. They bring him out. They do this thing. They read the scroll that he has there, and it says early spring. The crowd went nuts. So here I am at this 134th anniversary. There's only a few times he's predicted this early spring, and I was at one of them. I thought that was cool. I was like, you know what? That's cool. I could say I was there when he predicted an early spring. So he predicted an early spring. Everybody went nuts, and the crowd starts leaving pretty much not too long after that. Some people line up because you can go on stage and get your photo with Phil. And I thought it would be like would they hold him next to you, but they actually put him in they have this big clear round cylinder on the table, and they put him in there, and you just stand next to it and get your photo taken. But yeah, I didn't stick around for that. We decided to, we got, when people were leaving, we got up a little closer to get some photos. And then Jamie and I just said, yeah, let's just start walking back. And so we started walking back, going through the field again and going downhill, obviously a lot easier. And then there was people there, the residents there that made some hot chocolate and cookies and stuff, and they're handing them out to you as you're walking down. Well, that was pretty cool. So they really get into it. They really thank you for coming to their town there. Obviously provides a big financial boost to their town with all these visitors. And they have a lot of events going on. It's not just a one-day event. They have stuff going on Friday, like I said, Saturday, and then on the 2nd, Groundhog Day. So it was a good time. And again, if you ever thought about going and never have, do it. Just do it once. And no reason to go back after that. So then later on, we come to find out there's a groundhog down south called General Bigard. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. General Bigard Lee. And I guess he calls out Phil. I think on Twitter, he calls out Phil saying that he's not, something about not being a real groundhog or something, like his predictions are trash. So there's like this cool little thing they got going on back and forth. I got to check out that event. Maybe that'd be a cool one to go to eventually and cross that off too. I don't know. But hey, I had a good time. Glad I went. Like I said, ever since the movie came out, I love that movie, and I just wanted to go, and it was so close to home, really, and it was amazing. I just now get there. Should have did it sooner, but hey, got it done, crossed it off, and I recommend anybody that has thought about it, just go do it, get it over with, and like I said, you'll never have to go back again, though. So that is it. I just wanted to hop on here quick, tell you about that, give you a little update on my cold. I know some of you were messaging me asking how I was feeling, and then talking about asking me if I was going to Motorama, which that was a big no. And I don't really, I really don't like to, like I said in the beginning, I don't like to go where there's big crowds and stuff. So it was really different, really out of my element to go to something like this. But again, I didn't have a clue that it was going to be that large, though. I didn't think that many people, 30,000. Didn't even cross my mind. I figured, I could handle 1,000 or 2, or 5,000, whatever, but not 30. I didn't have an idea. So I guess all this is, did I get the cold from there? I'm sure maybe something was floating around in the air, but I have a feeling it had a lot to do with my poor choice in shoes. And and walking in that cold, and but hey, I survived, and I got to cross that off my bucket list. So good times. All right, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Radio Impound podcast. Get Jason on, talk about all those races that happened. So all right, guys, take care, catch you soon.